Well, happy Thanksgiving on this episode of the I-501C, the podcast for nonprofit board members. As you can see, I'm recording this on Casual Friday at the international offices of the Corley Company. In all seriousness, this week is Thanksgiving week, and I thought it'd be just a good time to give my thanks and to share some thoughts of thanks. And then even for you board members, thanks that you can give to people within your nonprofit organization. Hey everybody, this is Michael Corley. Just wanted to let you know we are now sending out a weekly, very brief newsletter, tips, tricks, pointers to nonprofit executives. That includes both board members and CEOs, executive directors. If you're interested in receiving this, please go to thecorleycompany.com/newsletter and you can sign up. Once again, that's thecorleycompany.com/newsletter. First I want to give thanks to Reed for helping me launch this podcast a little over a year ago. We're 60 some odd episodes into this. And when we started, we said, we've got to do it for a year just to be consistent, even when nobody was listening or very few people were. And we've kept with it. And since that time, we've actually gotten quite a number of listeners. So thank you all for the listeners. Thank you, Reed, for making sure we continue to produce this podcast on a weekly basis. And here's a bit of trivia for you that Reed shared with me. We were in the I-501C was in the top 10% of all podcasts in the world, and that's per listen notes. So top 10% of all podcasts. So for those of you listening right now, thank you. It is much appreciated. I also want to thank all the guests that we've had over the past year, the friends and new friends, and it's just been quite informative for me and helped me as I work with my clients to be better board members and be better boards overall. So thank you all. It's interesting as we embark on this season of reflection and Thanksgiving. As a board member, there's just several opportunities to pause, think about your nonprofit, and give thanks. Give thanks one, that the nonprofit is even in existence and is trying to address some type of situation. Oftentimes people go, wow, we'll let the government do that. Well, I can assure you the government's role is not to do a lot of what nonprofits do. Certainly businesses' role is not. So that leaves a huge gap. So for all of those of you out there serving in nonprofits, leading nonprofits, and on the boards of nonprofits, I thank you. And I thank you for improving my quality of life because of the impact you have in my community and communities all over this wonderful country of ours. So board members, give thanks just for the organization to begin with. Number two, give thanks to your CEO, the executive director, that person who's running the organization day in and day out. And we often joke because they have to not only manage the organization and implement and oversee the operations, but they've got to report to 15 bosses who don't show up to work every day. And that can be quite challenging. So please give thanks to your CEO, your executive director, certainly the staff as well, the people that are doing the work day in and day out. And they're the feet on the street. They're working with your beneficiaries. They're really the ones making the difference and making the impact in people's lives, animals' lives, whatever the case may be. So give thanks to them. Give thanks to your donors. Of course, we should always be thanking our donors because if it weren't for them, we wouldn't have the funding sources we need as nonprofits to go out and do what we need to do. And finally, thank yourselves and the volunteers, and you're a volunteer as well. So under that volunteer umbrella, volunteers are in many organizations absolutely critical to the success of making that impact. So be sure to thank your volunteers and thank yourselves, your fellow board members, because you are volunteers as well. As I think about this season coming up, we've got so much to be thankful for. The world clearly is in interesting times, but just as we think about the people we work with, as we think about the difference we're all trying to make, I thank you all for that. And I hope you're able to just take a step back and give some thanks and spend some wonderful time this week with colleagues, with family, with friends, and so that you can enjoy Thanksgiving 2023. So this is Michael Corley, the I-501C, the podcast for nonprofit board members. I thank you for listening. I thank you for everything you board members are doing out there, everybody working in nonprofits, and we will see you next week.